Your clients don't pick you, you pick them. Make that one mental change and see how it changes your business. If you're a professional service firm and you are trying to get going past that 10 to 20 employee range, I want you to change this one thought process. Your clients don't pick you, you pick them. And the moment that you do that, you're going to see a change in your business. I'm 𝗵𝘁𝘁𝗽𝗀 Saunders. I am a CPA and I've been helping advise entrepreneurs since 2006 when I started at my first CPA firm, and I've seen what works and what doesn't. So let's get into how you can pick your clients and they don't pick you. So when you say no to the wrong clients, you signal that your work is worth more. And I'm not just talking about ego. I'm talking about psychology, perception, and confidence. Because the truth is that the right clients will pay more when they feel that you're selective. Selectivity reads as trusted. Trusted reads as valuable. And valuable is going to get compensated more. So let's talk about how you can get there. Most entrepreneurs start with survival math, where they're going to take any lead, any project, any client, despite whether they fit or not, because they need to pay rent, they need to make payroll, and that fear creates this momentum, which creates a loop of just accepting anybody. And there's a reason that coaches and mentors out there are always telling people to define their target market. And this is why. When you do, something great happens. You get better, you get faster, you develop frameworks for that target market, and you build good judgment for them. But a lot of people will keep acting like that earlier version of themselves where they had to accept anyone. And so they keep saying yes when they should be saying no. They keep accepting chaos, which takes a lot more time away from what you need to be focusing on when you should be requiring standards. And you keep negotiating down your value, which is going to really stunt your revenue growth. Not because you're incapable, but because your identity has never caught up with your growth. And that's why you keep doing these things again and again. You need to change your identity on who you are and who your firm is. And you've probably heard the story about the baby elephants who were roped to a stake. When they rope these baby elephants to the stake, they will try to pull up the stake and get away so that they can roam free, but they learn that they can't. They're just not strong enough yet. When they grow up being staked to this, they actually have found that the adults will not try to pull up the stake, even though they now have the strength to do it, because they are still stuck in that mindset of they can't do it. There's a psychologist, Martin Seligman, who studied what he called the learned helplessness effect. So when repeated experiences teach you that trying doesn't change anything, you stop trying, even when the situation changes. And that shows up in business as you once needed every client, you once felt replaceable, you once believed you had to prove yourself to deserve good clients. And so you learned, I don't get to choose. But now you're capable, you're more experienced, and the stake is mentally still there, but it's mental. You need to pull it up. So the growth move is not just to start turning down clients. The growth move is updating your belief, what's in your head. You need to be telling yourself, I'm not begging for work. I'm building a business with standards. And the truth is that human perception makes that so people value what seems scarce, hard to access, or what's confidently delivered. And so when you change that mindset, what's happening is that you're unintentionally broadcasting now that we know what we do, we know what works, we have a demand, we protect our outcomes. Whereas before, you were broadcasting, I need this, I'll bend, I'll negotiate, I'll tolerate, which actually gives a lower perceived value, even if you never said those things out loud. That's why two firms can offer very similar services and have widely different prices, because one is selling hours while the other is selling a certainty of the outcomes. One feels available all the time for your every need, and the other one feels like it's choosing what it's going to do for you. Psychologist 𝗹H𝗸𝗱 introduced a concept called self-efficacy. And that means your belief in your ability to take action and create results. So in business terms, it's if you don't believe you can survive saying no, then you won't. If you don't believe you can hold your price, you're not going to. If you don't believe you can be selective, you're not going to be selective. So the key that you can learn from this is selectivity is a confidence skill. It's not a personality trait. And like any other skill, you're going to build it through reps. Every time you say no to the wrong client, you're going to prove to your brain that you can handle this, that you can lead this, that I can choose my clients. And that's not arrogance, that is actual maturity that entrepreneurs have to learn to build their businesses. A lot of entrepreneurs think that the pricing conversation is going to be about the market and what the market is doing at the time. But most of the time, that's just this internal issue that you have. If you're actually honest, you're afraid. You're afraid, what if nobody buys this? What if I claim this value and I'm wrong? And that's where the imposter feeling creeps in. So the term imposter phenomena, it was described by Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes that as the experience of feeling like a fraud despite evidence of competence. And the imposter feeling tends to create behaviors like over-delivering for the fee that you're charging, or accepting those wrong fit clients to avoid feeling rejected, or being vague about the clients that you serve so that you don't fail publicly, or discounting your prices before you're ever even asked to discount. The truth is your service is worth a lot when delivered to the right client. And you've got to understand that as an entrepreneur, and the bigger you grow, the more your firm gets larger and you take on more clients, the more you need to really have a strong understanding that you are worth it. Wrong fit clients don't value outcomes. They value control and getting you to bend to each of those items that they want that's extra or doesn't fit in your process. Right fit clients are going to value the outcomes that you are offering initially when you meet with them. And outcomes are expensive because they save time, they reduce risk, and they create growth for your client. So I want you to adopt one sentence as a daily operating principle to start retraining your brain. I pick my clients. They don't pick me. You will find that will not only do the things that we just talked about, but it'll actually make you feel more valued at it. After you get that into your head, you're going to realize that you are actually worth more than you thought you were. And that will give you more confidence. So say it again. I pick my clients. They don't pick me. Because when you believe that, you're going to start behaving differently. You're going to ask better questions on sales calls to qualify these clients. You're going to stop rescuing messy situations that you didn't create. And you could very well end up cutting some of those messy clients. You're going to require standards up front. Standards like communication. We have to get timely responses, or we have to get all the information that we asked for, etc. You're going to stop negotiating your value down just so you can feel like they're going to choose you. You're going to hold your prices. A lot of times I wouldn't even suggest negotiating them down. It kind of depends on your business model. but don't go below what you should be going below to get your gross profit. And there's a paradox with this. The more you behave like you choose your clients, the more clients who are actually going to choose you. It's very counterintuitive because you're going to be signaling to them that you're worth it. So you don't need to be rude. You just need to be clear in these conversations. So there's 3 different scripts that I like to review with people that they can use. So the first one is the specialist script that indicates you're a specialist. And what you're going to say is, based on what you shared, we're not the best fit. We specialize in, you can tell them what you specialize in, because that's where we deliver the strongest results. So you're saying we provide outcomes to these guys. You're not in these guys' standards. Or then there's the standards example. We'd rather say no than take something on where we can't guarantee the quality to you. If you want this outcome, we would need you to fall in this area, which you're outside of. And that lets them know that you believe in producing good results, but we can't produce those good results to you. And they can either fix those items so that they do fall in to your area, or they can go to somebody who does handle whatever lane they're in. Then there's the respectful redirect, which kind of has to do with that. But it says, I don't think this is the right match for our firm, but I want to make sure you're supported. So here's 2 other options that I recommend. And you could give them other companies that they can go to or other resources they can watch on YouTube or whatever. But that way you're still helping them in that you're pointing them in the right direction, but you let them know that they don't fit into your group. So notice what all 3 of these are going to do. They're going to position you as the professional with a method, not just a vendor who is chasing any work and will take anything. If you want to live the identity of I pick my clients, then you need to filter who you are going to have as clients. And there are 3 must-haves for each of the clients that you accept, and there are 3 deal breakers where you don't want them as clients. So the 3 must-have, or green flags, is they have to be the right industry or business type, they have to have the right level of complexity, and the right mindset where they're going to respond and work well with you. The 3 deal breakers, or as if they're just price shopping, those type of people tend to push boundaries on what they're going to try to get from you. They want something you don't do, so it's not an area. Don't take them. It's not worth going outside of the processes. And then also clients who would have high chaos and low ownership. Those are problem clients that are going to be blaming it on you all the time. Don't go there. If they hit a red flag, the answer is no. Because every wrong fit is going to cost you time, it's going to cost you energy, team morale, confidence, brand clarity, and specifically the ability to attract the right clients and serve those right clients well so that they're getting those good outcomes. So let's make it super simple to recap it here. When you keep taking the wrong fit clients, the market is going to hear that you're going to take anyone, that you'll probably negotiate what you're doing, and you might be very inconsistent with your outcomes or results. When you say no consistently, calmly, the market is going to hear they're in demand, they're confident, they have high standards, and they are probably worth it. And that's what you want, because the client you're trying to attract is not looking for the cheapest option. They're looking for clarity, certainty, leadership, and outcomes. And those are worth the premium. If you're still operating like the earlier version of you who takes anyone, you're not new anymore. You are not guessing anymore. You are not in survival mode anymore. You've grown into a bigger role where you can be more selective. So this week, practice the new identity with one small action. You're going to say no to one wrong fit lead. You're going to create one boundary to your onboarding where it disqualifies a lead. You're going to raise one price and see what happens. And you're going to rewrite one line in your website to clearly state who you serve. So for instance, if you serve professional service firms, put in there, we serve professional service firms with 15 to 20 employees who work in real estate or some specific industry that you have. Okay, you're going to, and when the fear shows up, because it's going to as you do this, especially if you're raising a price and you're really nervous about that. And I'm not saying raise it a lot. Like, you can look at the consumer price index and, if generally in your industry, you're probably going to look at like a 3 to 5% increase. Take that 3 to 5% and raise your one price and see what happens. But when that fear shows up, that you're going to tell yourself, that steak was real when I was small, but I'm not small anymore. I can raise this price and see what happens. Okay, if this episode helps you, share it with a business owner or friend who keeps accepting the wrong fit clients and wondering why growth feels heavy for them. Remember, you don't build a premium firm by doing more. You're going to build it by choosing better. Thanks.